Before starting this show, I check out the Amazon Prime series, and who do I see? Jackie Redmond. I'm sure you've had a chance to watch the
Who,
episode.
me?
What do you think of
Who,
it?
me?
Yeah,
This
you.
whole thing?
What'd you think of it?
You know what? I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to be
Okay.
totally honest. I did not get a screener. I didn't get anything like that. So I'm excited to watch it as everybody else watches it and see what idiotic things I said. I think I went in pretty hard on Brendan Shanahan. I'm a little bit nervous to see him in real life. I don't know if it made the cut or not, but I walked out of the room and I was like, whew, might be an awkward hello next time I see Shanny. But I can't lie. I gotta say what I really think.
I was in the same boat. I saw a clip of me ripping on Shanny, and I didn't do it that often, to be honest. But a handful of times I did, it was ripping on him, and I'm like, man, I like Shanny, and he emailed me after and sent me an alumni jacket. I'm like, God damn it, I didn't really want to burn that bridge, but that's life, anyways. This season's getting underway. That's focusing on last season. We're looking forward to this one. What are your thoughts on the Maple Leafs? Some of these new guys coming in. Are you pretty excited? And what have you thought of preseason so far?
You know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not a preseason gal. Like I'm not somebody. I saw you guys at the top of the show talking about people freaking out over last night's game and certain things. I am not somebody that gets too hyped or over dramatic about the preseason and lineup decisions before the season starts because as we have seen, specifically with this team, I would say like it all gets thrown in the trash once the real games start and we start seeing what the coach really thinks and who they really trust. I think we find that out pretty quickly. What they want to do, or at least what they want to give an extended look. But in terms of the Leafs, I'm excited. I feel like we are entering a new era. Mitch Marner is gone. I think this is going to be the best for both teams. The whole like all or nothing chapter is officially closed. We have slammed that book shut. It is a new book now. We can forget all of that. We can stop talking about it, and we can actually see what this new look Leafs is going to be able to accomplish. I know he's just one player, but it's Mitch Marner, right? And he was such a big name, such a huge piece of that core four, such a huge piece of, the playoff failures of years past. And I think just him being off the roster and being somewhere else, I think is going to give some of the younger players who have been around now for a couple of years, but a little bit more breathing room. There's an opportunity now for this brand and this team to sort of stand for something else. And so I am very excited to see what that looks like in real time in games that matter. Because I am a believer that it was the core four and everyone else. I don't think the players did that intentionally. I don't know how that sort of came to be, but I don't think that that makes a good room, even when it's unintentional. I think when it's us and them, and I think that's what was happening with the Leafs. I think it's not good, and I don't think we have that anymore. I think now it can be a more cohesive unit in terms of all of the guys in the room feeling just a little bit more valuable and more important to sort of reaching the top of the mountain. Does that make sense?
It does. And I was going to say, I enjoy your bitter honesty on a daily basis. But even in that Amazon show that I've watched 9 minutes of thus far, you're like, well, it's been like 10 years and no cup. And that is a very, very good point. So I
Yeah.
wonder, like, what's the expectation this year, Jackie? I'm trying to figure that out myself when I get set for the season next week. What is the level this team needs to get to where I'm like, shit, it was a good season, you know?
My expectations are still somewhat the same. I mean, filling Marner's role that's a huge gap to fill. It's huge point production to fill. And we've talked about it ad nauseum. And unfortunately for Austin Matthews, we're probably going to keep talking about it once the regular season starts because it's just, you can't not talk about it. It's a huge piece of the puzzle to figure out how they're going to make up for that point production. But I do think the expectations are similar. I still think this is a team that should compete to win the division. I still think it's a team that can go on a deep playoff run. I just think they're going to have to do it a little bit differently. I think we saw the start of that last year under their new head coach and the kind of the way that they're playing. I love the addition of Waugh. I think he's an incredible piece. I think he gives them something different. I'm curious to see kind of how his role maybe changes or expands as the season goes on. But I love that they have somebody that's big, that's heavy, that can play in the corners, that can win battles on the boards. I think that especially when we get into the postseason. I think it's something that, at least at the top of the lineup, the Leafs have sort of lacked a little bit. I like that he brings that for them. But I still think they should be a team that we see go on a deep run. They have good goaltending. They have star power. They've got a little bit more of a balanced lineup. I say that hesitantly up front. I'm a little worried about the back end over a 7-game series, but that's the playoffs. Right now, it's focus on the regular season, getting your game together and winning the division. And I think that, especially with everything happening in Florida, this is a team that can win the division.
Yeah, and you mentioned, the past has been the core four and too many eggs in one basket, and it has never come to fruition the way it could or should have or was expected to in the playoffs. Now, you mentioned some of these guys, Waugh and Dakota Joshua and Michelli, and some of the additions. Do you think it's okay to take a bit of a step back without Marner's 100 or so points and kind of, not light up the preseason, as long as that leads to more playoff ready team that's a better, well-rounded team for the postseason?
1,000%. And maybe listen, there's always going to be expectations for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and there's certainly going to be expectation when Austin Matthews is the core of the team. But I do think that maybe a little bit less hype, a little bit less expectations actually might be exactly what some of this team needs to kind of, again, like, breathe a little bit, not feel like the weight of the world is on this hockey team for once, because it's been that way for the entirety of Austin Matthews' career. I mean, they were comparing this team to the Chicago Blackhawks, the 3-time Stanley Cup champions over 10 years Blackhawks, in year one. Like, that is insane that we did that. That's crazy. And honestly, like, that's not even on the players. And they had to carry that weight for a long time. And I think that we have less of that now. I mean, you guys are in Toronto, so I don't want to speak out of turn here because I am in Nova Scotia, little old Nova Scotia. But it feels like this has been a much quieter offseason for the Leafs, even with the departure of Mitch Marner. I'm sure the Blue Jays are a part of that, but I like it. I like it for the Leafs. I think maybe it's what they need to kind of turn over a new leaf, if you will. I didn't even mean to do that.
Nice.
It was there.
Nice.
And I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm just keeping it on trend with the cheesiness. Taylor Swift put out a new album today, and the lyrics, there's some cringe lyrics there.
I believe
but
it.
I mean, listen, this is coming from a Taylor Swift stan. I love her dearly, but the lyrics, there are some embarrassing lyrics on this new album. Anywho, that's not why I'm here. I think lower expectations for the Leafs are good, because I think on multiple levels, it's going to allow them to focus on what actually matters, and that's how they're playing in the game that they want to play, and sort of polishing that over the course of the regular season, and then not straying from it when they get to the playoffs, and actually figuring out a way to win that will work over a 7-game series, not just one team on one night and a different team the next. Because I think that is something that's really hurt the Leafs in the postseason, is just not being a team that can win over 7 games. Right. And that's different than just beating a really good team one-off and then going into the next city and doing it against someone else. So they need to figure out how they can be a Stanley Cup contending team over 7 games, not just 1 or 2.
I have an idea. Anyways, it's October 3rd, and I don't know if you've looked recently on Puckpedia, but the Maple Leafs might have a lot of cap space next summer. I feel like I've been running for office on social media, but there's a guy in Edmonton says he needs a feeling. He's going to wake up with a feeling, and then all of a sudden he's going to sign a contract with his Oilers. But are you starting to buy the McDavid-to-Toronto hype at all?
Allow me to quote a Taylor Swift song.
Oh, here we go.
When you know, you know, and when you don't, you don't. And the fact that Connor McDavid does not know today that he necessarily wants to be an Edmonton Oiler long term, to me kind of says everything. I think that, listen, he could still end up staying in Edmonton, but me right now today, I feel like there's a really good chance that he leaves. And I don't know if that's the right decision or not. That's Connor McDavid's decision to make. But I just think that this is Connor McDavid. I've seen like ridiculous takes on social media about, oh, well, he's he's just playing the game. He's just, he's driving a hard bargain. I'm like, it's Connor freaking McDavid. He does not need to play the negotiating game, okay? That is not what this is. This is someone that genuinely has not decided. And to me, that's a better place to be in if you're any team that's not the Edmonton Oilers. Do you know what I mean? So, I think he could potentially leave if he doesn't feel the right feeling this year. Yes.
And what if he has made his decision and he's saying, I'm not going to re-sign in Edmonton? What do you say that entire year when they're asking you like crazy? You're not going to say, this is my last year, I'm leaving. I think he would say exactly what he's saying right now and just putting it off and like leaving little breadcrumbs, which I can't get my head around the fact that he's going to do anything else other than leave, or why the hell would he say everything that he's said?
Yeah, and I think too, it's like I'm a big vibes person. And even just like, now listen, it's Connor McDavid. When he's in front of a camera, like he's not the most comfortable person, and that's totally okay. But there is an energy and a vibe, at least over the summer when he's been asked about it, that doesn't scream like I love being in Edmonton. Even when he's saying the right things about the Oilers, even when he's trying to sort of sit on the fence and sort of be politically correct and say all the right things, it's like the energy is not backing up those words for me. That's just my read. But I also do think that even if he's thinking right now that he's leaning more towards leaving Edmonton than staying, I do think that that can change really quick. Like life comes at you quick, and they could maybe have a really good season and he decides to go back. I think it is a really hard decision to be the best player in the league and to leave the franchise that you've spent your entire career with, that you've gone to 2 Stanley Cup finals with. You have had success there. You have been literally as close as you can possibly get to winning a cup without winning it. So it's like, it's not easy to turn your nose up at that. And I also think that leaving puts more pressure on Connor McDavid in some ways, because now it's like, now you've left Edmonton. You didn't stay loyal. You didn't stick it out through quote unquote tough times or whatever. And you went and you chased it. And now you're the guy that's chasing it. And I think that there's a pressure that comes with that as well. Whereas if you stay and it doesn't work out and you never win a cup, which, oh my God, would be a travesty. Like Connor McDavid needs to win a Stanley Cup. But if that were to play out that way, at least you're the guy, you were the loyal guy, you did everything you could. You went to battle, you went to war with the Oilers, and you never left. Like at least you have that if it doesn't happen. If you leave and you never win, then you're always going to look back at that decision, go, I wonder if I stayed, if things would be different. And so even thinking about it, like, oh my God, I have anxiety just thinking about how you would make that decision. Like I feel for Connor. That is a hard place to be for a guy that I think we all know, like number one, just wants to win. So good luck to you, Connor, with that.
Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.